All right. Hi, I'm Jimmy Davidson. I'm founder and CEO of Freedom in Motion Parkour Gym.
So tell me, what is parkour in your own words?
So, parkour is a type of martial art, but instead of fighting, it's the art of movement. So, let's pretend that there was like a natural disaster near you and just taking the normal staircase to the normal walkway, maybe there was like a fire or it was blocked. Parkour would equip you with the necessary movements to, go over the hand railings, up the walls, climb down, something that isn't just a ladder. Basically get from where you are to where you need to be in a safe, quick, and efficient manner. And that's why it's a martial art because it's like self-preservation, like getting from here to there. But then obviously nowadays, if you go on to YouTube and look up parkour, you see it more as an art similar to skateboarding. Athletes will go outside and find different architectural elements and just sort of dance on them or like try different movements and push their own physical balance and precision and capabilities to just like interact with the built environment in a creative and fun way. So modern parkour is kind of the marriage of both of those concepts.
That's awesome. I have never heard it described that way. So thank you for that. I know that's a question that a lot of families will have is what exactly is parkour? So that's a great explanation. Okay, so the next question I have is what makes you passionate about parkour? Why is this an interest of yours?
Yeah, I love parkour. Oh my gosh. So I originally got into parkour the summer between my eighth grade and ninth grade. I'm 29 now. I'm actually turning 30 in 2 weeks. So this is, a while
Same
ago.
Same
Thanks.
with
Oh, cool. Um, yeah, so I found it in a video game first, and just playing the video game. The main character is just like doing parkour to get around the area, and it's like a lifelike video game. It's not like a cartoon or anything. So I just got the idea, like, wow, that looks really cool, and it seems practical. I want to go try that. So me and like two of my friends who had the game also, we just went out to. I lived in Temecula, so we just went out to like my local elementary school and there was like a dumpster wall and we just climbed on it and did all the stuff. And it was just fun. It was cool to see what we were trying to do just based on the game and then
Right.
just like, try it a couple of times and eventually get it. And that's just like a really fun, self-guided, like I can do it feeling. And especially we were just like at a school, on just some concrete wall. So realizing that you can do this anywhere was it was fun and it was inexpensive because we were, broke high school, middle school. Um, so that was kind of like the first bit of it. And then as we kept practicing and as we looked up videos, eventually we learned what the actual word parkour was because the video game didn't say parkour. We eventually found it on YouTube.
Right.
We found like all these different movements and kind of nobody knew what they were doing because this is back in like, 2000 and, you know, six. So you got to kind of make up your own stuff and share your progress on the then, it was just YouTube and Facebook was barely popular at that point.
Right.
Um, so it was just fun, like going out and learning this new stuff and constantly having these like challenges that were scary and technically difficult at first, but then just a little bit of practice, and all of a sudden you have the confidence and the skill to do it safely. I hadn't really ever experienced that in a sport before, and I had played lots and lots of sports, but that was the first time where I felt ownership over the sport and ownership over my progress in it, and just genuinely had a great time and continue to do so to this day.
So you started doing this before you got into high school, and I've read that there was a parkour club when in high school. Were you a part of starting that, or how did that become a thing?
Yeah, so I went to Temecula Valley High School. When I got to the school as a freshman, we noticed that there was just like a paper poster up on the wall that said Parkour Club.
Cool.
And we went to the meeting, me and my two friends, who were the ones that we were climbing on my elementary school. We went there and it was just three other people. And it was the very first year. It just started off as the six of us. Kind of none of us knew what we were doing. We were all like kind of started in the same spot. It was just coincidental that they had started it, and then we had joined it. Uh,
Wow.
and then from there were these two brothers, these two twins, Kenny and Chris, and they knew a lot more than we did. So
Mhm.
they were kind of like teaching us some of the techniques and the fundamentals. But once we were all kind of on the same page, we would just go to Ronald Reagan Sports Park down the street
Right.
and just like practice, twice a week, just climbing on stuff. And soon more kids would join. And maybe after 2 or 3 years, the club was I can't verify it, but I would like to say probably the largest club on campus by how many
Wow.
people would show up. Because we had like actually 100 people plus show up some days.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Do you know if that's still a thing at Temecula Valley High now that you aren't there anymore?
So it's not, it remained a thing for 2 or 3 years. And I tried to help the kids who took it over run it. But
Right.
then the school district, and not just TVUSD, also MVUSD, because Murrieta Mesa and Murrieta Valley also had parkour clubs.
Oh,
So did
that's
Chaparral. These school districts decided to like essentially ban any clubs that took the people off campus, which we did. And then obviously the school wouldn't let us do parkour on campus.
right.
And if they did, there was them like turning a blind eye.
Right. Makes
So
sense.
we got kind of caught between those two rules. And so, yeah, that kind of inspired the necessity for having a parkour gym.
Right. So that brings you to the start of your parkour gym. And so Marietta is where you started your first one, and you have a total of three now. Is the Riverside one open officially?
We have two, Murrieta, Loma Linda, and then the Riverside one we hope to open in February 2023.
That's amazing. So
Nice.
what made you start in the location you're at now?
So like I said, I'm from Temecula. We wanted to have our first gym be in Temecula, but just because that's the city I was from. And then when we got down to actually finding, which building would work in the proper zoning of the city, that was the right size and all the things. It just ended up that Murrieta at that time was the spot to go, and it was right on the border of the two
It
cities.
is, yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a good location between the two cities, which is
yeah.
awesome. So do you have any plans to expand that gym or do anything different with it? Or are we gonna, do you want to just keep it as is because it's your original, your baby, your where you started?
So our lease is up in 2 years, a year and a half.
Okay.
And at that time, we want to, check in with the landlord and see if they, want to like renegotiate any specifics or if they have any other properties. Because we're kind of right on the border of outgrowing the size of the building right now. And it's also a weird shape. It's like an L shape, which makes it hard to like, obviously, like just a big box is the best.
Right.
Um, so there's that. But also because it was our first gym, technically it was actually our second gym because our first gym in Murrieta, we had to deconstruct it and then move it up the street and rebuild it.
I
Um,
see.
so that was tricky. Um,
Yeah.
anyways, but it's our first like operating location,
Right.
and because of that, um, we didn't have the experience that we do now. So if we did just wipe it and then rebuild a whole new gym, it would look a lot better and it would have different elements to it.
Yeah.
So we do want to revisit Murrieta and try to reincorporate the new lessons that we've learned from our other two gyms.
Awesome. That sounds great. So I know that you do have a competition team. Do you have competition teams at each location or how does that work?
We do. Each gym has its own competition team, its own competition coaches. When you're a student at Freedom in Motion and you get through level 1 and level 2 and you are in level 3, that's when we start inviting you to come to the tryouts to start, considering being on the competition team. Because at that point, once you're in level 3, you 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 basically have the fundamentals of parkour. You have a lot of balance, the basic vaults, you understand like how to get your body to land exactly where you want it to. Importantly, you understand if you fall, what do you do to keep yourself safe? So at that point, level 3, that's when we encourage kids to like start setting like really great goals and start articulating like what about parkour they want to explore and pursue. And a lot of times, like the guys of a competition team like really helps foster that.
Awesome. So, how often are there competitions?
Pretty often. So competition season starts in January, and a cool thing is it starts with Freedom in Motion's Murrieta location.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, our parkour gym was one of the first parkour gyms like in California and all up and down the West Coast to offer parkour competitions.
Yeah,
Um,
that's awesome.
so yeah, it's pretty cool. So now that we have partnered with a number of other parkour gyms, not just in Southern and Northern California, but all the way up and down the West Coast, there is a league called the West Coast Parkour Championships. And starting in January all the way through June, there's maybe like 10 to 15 different competitions that happen multiple every month up and down the coast.
That's
Um, yeah, so they're pretty frequent and they're very fun too, and some pretty amazing stuff happens at the competitions.
that's awesome. So, approximately how many gyms participate in these competitions?
How many gyms participate? Well, there's probably 10 different gyms that host competitions. So Fim Murrieta hosts one, Loma Linda hosts another, and then Riverside will host one. So just we host 3 of them.
Awesome.
Um, and then last year the finals were in Moreno Valley. So like Southern California is a great place to be for it.
Yeah.
But there's probably maybe 20 to 25 different like parkour organizations that participate and send their kids and send their adults and teens to competitions.
That's amazing. Have you ever thought of doing mini competitions like for the younger ones, just so they can kind of get a feel for it?
Yeah, so we have members only competitions here at Freedom in Motion. So if you're a member and it's we tend to do it like the couple of months before competition season begins. We set up like a mock, competition here in the gym, and it's only members who can participate. So, that means that way less people show up compared to like a open to everyone competition.
Right.
And the coaches are there like, taking things very slow and mellow and like helping kids get the feel for it. And in those competitions, level 2, level 1 students, kind of anyone who wants to show up can show up. And we do see younger kids come and participate in that as well.
That's super cool. Okay, so I also know that besides competitions in your classes, you also work with schools within our area. How exactly does that work? Are you a vendor for homeschool groups or charter schools? How does that work?
We are. So different charter schools in the area will open up their PE service to different, gyms like mine. Basically, you apply and you tell the school what you're doing, and they accept you as a vendor. Um, and currently, we are accepted with, nearly every school that I can think of or that I've found. And yeah, we get a lot of kids that come through their charter school, and we are their PE credits, and the school like totally pays for it.
That's so awesome. So do the kids come together as a group? Do they just sign up individually when they decide to use that as their PE credit? How does that work?
Yeah, so they go through their school and they request that we be their, PE, and then the school generates a purchase order, sends it to us, and then we connect with the family. And the family is like informed at each step by the school as well. And they don't have to like enroll as a group. They can just enroll, one family can just go ahead and do it by themselves. And then on our end, we do have specific charter school classes. So, if you're from, let's say, River Springs Charter School,
Right.
and you come to that specific charter school class time, you'll probably have like a couple other kids from your school in your class. And we've noticed that a lot of times kids will make friends and parents will kind of get to know each other because they go to the same charter school or at least very similar schools.
That's awesome because I have seen some of the photos that have been sent my way have kids with all the same shirts. So I was just wondering, how they got together or if they came as like a class group for their classes with you. So
Mhm.
that was just my my curiosity. So another question I had was do you have any ideas on how you can make parkour accessible to everyone besides the charter schools and besides classes? Maybe there are some kids who can't afford to come to classes or aren't attached to affiliated with a school. So do you have any ideas on how you can make it more accessible to everyone?
Yeah, so there are two things that we do to make learning parkour and also our gym accessible to everybody. One, in the gym is we offer open gym sessions and an open gym membership. Open gym is just when the gym is open for anybody to come and practice their skills. And that's just $10. So a lot of people find that to be a lot more accessible, depending on your personal financial situation. And then if you wanted to come to a lot of open gyms, if you got our open gym membership, it's only $9 a week and you get unlimited open gyms. So you could come every day, some days for multiple hours and just, kind of practice. And it's only $9. So that's our most accessible option as far as something you would pay for in the gym. On the free side, on our YouTube channel, which is freedom or YouTube/@ Fim Parkour Gym. That's how you find us, or if you just search Freedom Motion Parkour. We have a whole tutorials playlist, and like you can find maybe 80% of our level 1 and level 2 curriculum in that playlist. So you could watch those, go outside, go to a local park. Soon we're going to have up on our blog like top 5 best parkour spots in, Temecula or Loma Linda. We're going to try to like publish like where to actually go outside and do parkour safely. So you can take the free knowledge on our YouTube and then just go outside and practice it just like I did before parkour gyms even existed.
Yeah, that's excellent. I think that's a great way to encourage kids to get outside, especially since we have, all the kids have their phones now. So I think that's an excellent way to help encourage people to get outdoors and to move your body. Yeah. So that is all the questions I have for you. All right. So what are some things you would like to tell everyone in our area, in the Murrieta Temecula French Valley area, about parkour, your Freedom in Motion Parkour Gym in Murrieta?
Yeah, so our area has a rich history doing parkour. Athletes from our area have gone all the way to world finals. Athletes from our area have won like major competitions, and those very athletes started as just like kids who had no idea what they were doing. They went to Freedom in Motion or they practiced with us outside or a combination. So if you feel like this is your first time hearing about it and you're in the area, you are in like such a good area to learn parkour. And there's a lot of knowledgeable coaches around to help. And the best way to get started, especially if you want the expertise of a coach showing you what to do, how to do it safely, and what the progressionary steps are, then I encourage you to go to freedominmotion.com. And in the top of it, it just has a try a class button. And we're offering $15 off your trial class to anybody. And if they happen to be watching this during the New Year's, January, we're actually giving away a free summer camp for every new member. And that's a $500 value just for signing up for parkour, which is already fun,
Right. That's a great value.
Yeah. So now is definitely the time to try. But despite whenever you see this, go to our website, hit try a class, and even just doing one class with us, you'll learn a lot and you'll have a great foundation to then, kind of do whatever you want with parkour.
Excellent. Very good.